call this meeting of the Duncanville ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board trustees is present, that the meeting has been duly called, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Good evening. Our mission at the Duncanville ISD is to engage, equip, and empower all scholars to achieve their unique potential. We will now go into closed session. Okay, we're back from closed session. We'll move on with our opening ceremony. Trustee Vera Cruz will lead us in our invocation.
Good evening, everyone. If you would please bow your head for a moment of prayer. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help us as we are gathered together here tonight. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us a desire to find ways to excel in our work and help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we challenge each other to reach higher and farther to be the best that we can be. We ask this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Okay. Please stand for the pledge to the flag, and U.S. flag and Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. We'll move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Smith, you're up.
Okay, thank you, President McNeely. Board members, guests, staff, those that are in attendance tonight, have the following items that I want to highlight in the superintendent's report. The first item is to provide an update on the Leadership Southwest group that we were able to host at Duncanville High School. For the audience, the Leadership Southwest is a collaborative between Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Duncanville, and Lancaster, the Chambers of Commerce. And it's the leaders, business leaders, community leaders that get together annually, and they have a class, and that class goes throughout the various communities so that they can learn what's going on in the community, meet different leaders within the community. And we were able to host the Leadership Southwest group this year. And so they were at Duncanville High School, and they had an opportunity to get an overview of many of our CTE programs. Two programs presented to them. One was our agriculture program, and that was led by our ag teacher, Miss Elizabeth Gant. And then we had our computer science program, which was led by Tracy Waller. So in each of those presentations, which were led by the students, for example, the agricultural program, the students were able to talk about how they raise chickens, and some of the individuals got to actually walk away with some of the eggs that the chickens hatch. And it's a real system that they have, and you wouldn't think that a system like that with chickens would be in Duncanville, but it really is. They do produce eggs, and so it was great. It was a great opportunity for those kids to be able to showcase their work. And then the computer science program students, they had their robots that they had built and constructed. You see there in the photo. And they had an opportunity to talk about the work that goes behind engineering their robots and building their robots. They were able to use them in front of the leadership group, and it was just a great opportunity to showcase the programs that are going on at Duncanville High School, and a way to bring community leaders into the school so they could meet our students and they could see the work that we do. So it was a great day for our students. The next item I have is October is National Principals Month. We have a photo of the principals here in Duncanville ISD. As you know, having a exceptional principal at a campus is absolutely critical to the work that must be done. We have to have strong leaders, and we're fortunate in Duncanville ISD to have a great team of principals. And so all this month, we've done a lot to recognize their work, to show them how proud we are of the work that they do. They have to be instructional leaders. They have to be problem solvers. They have to create a positive learning environment, have to have the ability to collaborate and work with others, and to create an environment where everyone can be successful. Sounds so easy, but it is so difficult to do. Our principals really do it well. They work together as a team, and I just couldn't be more proud to be in partnership with them. So you see them, let them know how much you appreciate them this month. We've got several things social media-wise, just recognizing the good work that they do. So kudos to our principals for all the awesome work that they do in our district each and every day. The next item I have is just to recognize Hispanic Heritage Month. I guess 2 weeks ago now, we had an opportunity, several of the board members were in attendance as well at our Hispanic Heritage Program at Duncanville High School. It was a great program. Students from our high school students to our youngest elementary students and all the student groups in between had an opportunity really to just showcase their pride and their culture. And it was a great, great evening and a great opportunity to see our kids perform and the pride that they had. We highlighted several of our leaders throughout the district during the course of this month. We did have an opportunity to highlight Miss Janet Veracruz, who I kind of joke with her. She's not the first. Her husband is the first Hispanic board member in Duncanville ISD, but she's the first Hispanic female board member. How about that? In Duncanville ISD. And so we were just proud to recognize her and all the great things that we're doing in our district during this month to really just celebrate and show the pride that we have for our students and our leaders. So it was a great evening and a great opportunity to see our kids. The next item that I have is just Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Actually, as we speak, it may be just about over now, but there was a ceremony tonight, a vigil tonight in the memory of Tiffany Jackson. You may have heard on the news right before the fall break that Tiffany Jackson passed away. She was a member of the 2003 Duncanville Girls Basketball State Championship team. She graduated from Duncanville High School as a McDonald's All-American and a State Farm WBCA High School Player of the Year in 2003. In 2017, the district named her as an Athletic Hall of Honor inductee. She just has a long career in basketball, an esteemed career. But in addition to that, she touched so many lives in basketball on and off the court. I did not have a chance to meet her, but I've learned so much about her since her passing, and it's clear she was an awesome young lady who will definitely be missed. And so our prayers are with the Jackson family during this time. So I wanted to recognize Miss Tiffany Jackson. At this most recent football game, we had an opportunity to have a moment of silence for Miss Jackson as well. So we are very appreciative of the life that she lived. The next item that I have is surveys. So getting feedback from our various stakeholders is important to us in Duncanville ISD. And so starting this month, actually on Wednesday the 19th, we're going to have a series of surveys that will be going out to students. Actually, we've already surveyed students. The surveys that are going out on Wednesday will be specifically for employees, for parents, and just community members, our stakeholders. So this will be an opportunity for them to give us feedback on how well we're doing and also what we can do better. And that feedback is important. We want to know And so we'll be sharing that information with our board and with our community, and we'll be tracking that throughout the course of this year. So I'm really excited to put the surveys out there. In the past, we would do one long survey at the beginning or end of the year. This year, we decided to do something different, which is to do many more laser-focused surveys throughout the course of the year, so that we can get feedback in real time on how we're doing, and then we want to take that feedback and we want to discuss it and use it and see what we can do to improve. So really excited about that, be keeping you, board and community and staff in the loop on all the feedback that we get from that. Those are the items that I have tonight for the superintendent's report. Turn it back over to you, Mr. Board President.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. We'll now move to recognitions. I'll turn the meeting over to Connie Wallace.
Mr. Woody's coming to help get the microphone there.
All right, I think you can hear me now. I'll speak louder, just in case. President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith, I am delighted to share donations that we've received for this month. Next slide, please. We received some anonymous donations totaling over $10,000 since last time that I had a chance to be before you guys. Next slide, please. And we also received several other donations. South Toyota and Mr. Tom Kennedy, they have made donations to our Panther Pantry, and we'd like to thank Davidson Sylvester at Racetrack on Cockrell Hill for supporting Daniel Intermediate's Grandparents' Day, as well as Donuts with the Principal. And last but not least, we are grateful to Barnes & Noble. They donated 6 boxes of books to our media center. So thank you to our community for supporting us, their continued support. And I will move into, with permission, I'll move forward with our Made with Pride recognition. Okay. All right, so Made with Pride is Made with Pride in Duncanville. It's an opportunity for us to recognize a student, a teacher, and a staff member for the impact they have on members of the Duncanville ISD community. And we receive a lot of nominations, and that makes it really, really difficult for us to narrow down and select just one person from each of those categories. But the committee, we met, we labored over it, and we did it. And we are really excited about the 3 folks that we're going to share with you guys tonight. Our first honoree is DeEvan Johnson. Mr. Johnson, he really wanted to be here tonight. But he is a key member of a professional choir, and they are having an engagement tonight. So Mr. Johnson is not here. He is the assistant choir director at Duncanville High School, and he was nominated by Christy Beatty, who is a former DHS teacher, as well as a student, Kalisa Zapata. And some of the things that they shared with us about Mr. Johnson is that he goes above and beyond for his students. He takes the time to get to know his students and is able to recognize when he needs to pull them to the side and check in with them to see how they're doing. He has cultivated a family experience and atmosphere that motivates students to be involved. Ms. Zapata, who is the student, she says he has always gone that extra mile to make sure students feel appreciated and loved. For many students, including herself, when she walks into the choir room and he greets her or the students, he's always welcoming and very uplifting. His spirit is, it shines bright, especially when you are having a very dim day. And Miss Beatty wanted us to know that in a very short time, she got to see Mr. Johnson in action. He is supportive of not just to his students, but to other faculty members. He is amazing at building kids up. He is talented, kind-hearted, fun, hardworking, and very selfless. And she wanted us to know that he is truly made with pride. So we are, in his absence tonight, let's give a round of applause for Mr. DeEvan Johnson. At this time, I'd like to invite Miss Kyle to the podium. Come on down, Miss Kyle. As Miss Kyle is coming to the front, Miss Kyle, I think probably everyone in this room, everyone in this district probably knows Miss Kyle. She is the secretary at Duncanville High School, and she was nominated by Miss Maddie Galindo, a former DHS bookkeeper and now technology secretary. And so she wanted us to know that, that your title here at DHS is listed as secretary. But everyone in Duncanville ISD has seen how you go above and beyond the duties of your job description to help advance the success of the entire school. You have been with the district for 17 years. Your kids have gone on and graduated from Duncanville, so you are Duncanville through and through. She said that your work ethic and dedication are admired by everyone. Your ability to pivot and adapt to all things thrown at you is so inspiring. You are an example of what it means to be DVille all in. She also wanted us to know that Ms. Kyle is a high achiever, transparent communicator, responsible, and very trustworthy. She is a real person of value. Duncanville is better off because you are here and serving our students and our staff. So we want to congratulate you for being nominated and selected as Duncanville Made with Pride. And here in just a moment, I'm going to invite her back up so that we can get a picture with you guys behind her. All right. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Kendrick Davis to come join me at the podium. All right, Mr. Davis. All right. Kendrick is a 10th grade student at Duncanville High School, and he was nominated by one of his peers, a 10th grader, Miss Serenity Green. And Kendrick, she wants you to know that she is really glad that you are a part of our Duncanville High School band as a member of the Wind Ensemble and concert band. She wanted everyone to know that you have really high aspirations and goals, and that you are aiming to be an all-stater this year. Is that true? Yes, all right. She also wanted us to know that Kendrick has an almost perfect attendance record. Wow. And he has really good grades. Serenity says that I genuinely believe that if there were more students like Kendrick at this school, it would be an even better place. He has motivated her throughout their entire school year to be better by giving her words of encouragement and wisdom. He always brings positivity and energy to every environment, and when faced with challenges, he takes them head on. Serenity also went on to say that when she became friends with Kendrick, he showed her how to be a true friend and what a true friend really is. He showed her that She didn't have to change anything about herself to befriend anyone. He has been her rock since day one of their friendship, and he spreads that same kindness to so many other people. And Serenity wants you to know that she is genuinely happy to say that he is not only, how do I phrase this? I'm going to read it as she wrote it. I am genuinely happy to say that he is not only my pride, but Duncanville's pride. So let's give it up for Kendrick. At this time, I would like for us to see a video that we have put together about our 3 honorees this evening.
Duncanville ISD congratulates the following student, staff member, and teacher who are made with pride in Duncanville.
My name is De'Evan Johnson. I'm the Associate Choir Director here at Duncanville High School. For me, I'm really intentional about connection with my kids, and I want them to separate from their normal world and come into the room and be able to make music and step outside of their comfort zone, because what we ask them to do is a vulnerable thing, and when we do it together, it's also really powerful. And so part of what we try to instill in them is excellence, not only in the classroom of the choir room, but excellence when they walk throughout Duncanville High School and what that looks like. And so I'm very intentional about making sure that my kids are not just great at what they do musically, but that they're also taken care of as an individual. Just as much as I'm there for them, they don't know that they're there for me as well. All of them have a voice, literally and figuratively, and it's a place for them to truly be themselves.
My name is Amy Kyle, and I'm the secretary at Duncanville High School. This is my 18th year in Duncanville. I've been here for 17 years. I started off at the elementary school at Hyman Elementary for 5 years, and then I moved over here to the high school, and it was the best move that I've ever made. What I like most about my job is interacting with everybody, whether it's a student, a teacher, principals from other schools, because I love helping others, especially when they're coming in here frustrated or confused about things. I love being able to help them get the answer that they're trying to find. I get all kinds of questions, whether it's about here at the high school, maybe reservations, dealing with paras and their timesheets, helping custodial, helping with reservations. In the end, when they get their final answer, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good that they're walking out of here happy. I absolutely love being here at the high school.
My name is Kendrick Davis. I'm in the 10th grade. I like to always give people what I would want to receive back. I always bring positive energy. Even days when I feel bad or I have down times I feel gloomy, I always try to keep my energy high and be happy around others, because if you have a positive energy and people see you in a good way, you can get into different colleges, you can get into different jobs, you have more opportunities for yourself, and that betters yourself in the future. A lot of stuff I do can be overwhelming to some people, but I make sure that I keep myself balanced. I still make sure I get to class on time, I do my work when it's due, and I don't know, I just like to have positivity when I walk around. I like to just show people that I'm happy with myself and who I am.
These honorees truly are made with pride in Duncanville.
I can have our 2 honorees to please come back up to the front. We'd like to get a picture of you with our board. And if there are family members and friends here to support them, if you'll please stand and be recognized. And here, we do have the lead choir director for the district for Duncanville High School, Mr. Doucet. He is here as well. So thank you for being here to support Mr. Johnson's recognition. Thank you.
Is there any parents or any family with the honorees tonight could stand and be recognized? Thank you, Ms. Wallace. We'll move on to community. Is there any communication from citizens about? Not today. Okay. Move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
We got to move them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Move it.
I move that we approve, what do we?
No, we're moving
Oh.
B and C.
Excuse me, y'all.
We're moving A and B,
Okay.
B and C.
President McNeely, I move that we move, I make a motion that we move B and C to,
From the action.
from the
agenda.
action to the consent agenda. I couldn't even hear that.
Second,
So moved.
second,
Second.
okay. And as we before we vote on that, Dr. Nix, could you give us dates and where the graduation's going to be?
Good evening, Board. Sorry, good evening, Board. The graduation date for this year is going to be on May the 30th, 2023, and the proposal is that the graduation will be held at the Globe Life Field. They've been a great partner for us this year. so
Definitely.
that's the
Good
date
job.
and the location.
Okay.
Great job last year.
Yeah, we're really smooth. Are there any other questions?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items as amended.
Second.
Second.
Okay, then motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor of the consent agenda, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Okay. Okay, we move on to the action agenda. A, Dr. Nix, the Duncanville High School Choir traveling to New York to perform at the historic St. John's Cathedral.
Good evening, President McNeely, members of the board, Dr. Smith. I'd like to bring for your consideration the opportunity for our Duncanville High School Choir to travel to New York to perform at the historic St. John's Cathedral. This is a wonderful opportunity for our students. They'll participate in a musical theater workshop with Broadway performers and attend 2 musical theater performances and tour several historical sites in New York. Wonderful opportunity for our students to be exposed,
Yeah.
to get that exposure, and also to perform and shine the bright light of Duncanville for so many to see. So we're just bringing this for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Nix, will tickets be available to the 3 performances?
Well, I do not know the answer to that, but I know who does. We have our director of choirs here that can shed a little light on what those tickets will look like.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Board. Tickets to the performances are open to the public at St. John's Cathedral, so those are open performances.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. Do you need chaperones?
Yes.
Any other questions? Do I-
Yeah, true.
You asked how many chaperones Currently, there are 5 chaperones. We have 35 students going right now. We have the 2 choir directors and 3 parents currently going. And as always, seats are open for board members.
Sounds like,
So that'd be about a ratio of about 1 to 7.
It's 1 to 7.
Yes, ma'am.
sounds like a great program. This will be an opportunity for them so much.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
You're very welcome.
Any other questions?
I want to say that this is just a great opportunity for our students, and it's just every time you all come before us, there's another great opportunity for our students. So thank you all for doing the work to
Absolutely.
expose our students to bigger things.
Amen.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Do you have a motion to approve the choir spring trip to New York to perform at the historic St. John's Cathedral as presented?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, we move. Okay. District campus targeted improvement plans. Dr. Jordan?
Good evening, President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. It is my pleasure to provide you with a presentation in regards to our district improvement plans and our campus improvement plans. Next slide. One of the many things I love about...
Mom, about the hard copy.
I'm so sorry. You all have a hard copy of the presentation in front of you. The presentation that's in your board book is a little different. My apologies. One of the many things that I love about Duncanville ISD is our process of getting feedback from many different stakeholders. So as we are developing our district improvement plan and our campus improvement plan, we use a comprehensive process to make sure that we are developing plans that's based on our needs, our current needs right now, that we have a process to review our targets, to come together and plan collaboratively, gather feedback, revise, seek board approval, which is what we're doing tonight, and then update and revise quarterly. Next slide. As we're talking tonight, I am going to use 2 terms, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with those 2 terms. So, board policy says that the board will approve the district improvement plan objectives and the campus improvement plan objectives. So I will talk about goals, I will talk about priorities, I will talk about objectives, and just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So when I refer to goals tonight, that's a high-level view of what is to be accomplished. And then when I refer to objectives, that's the specific actions a team must take to achieve the goal. So when I say goal, we may also talk about priorities because those are one for our strategic plan. So I think about goals and objectives in one way. My goal is by the end of this year, I'm going to lose 15 pounds. That's my goal. The objective would be that I'm going to exercise, that I'm going to change my diet, I'm going to watch my calorie intake. So goals and then objectives. Next slide, please. So by policy, the board is required to annually approve only the objectives of the district and campus improvement plans. In Duncanville ISD, the objectives and goals at the district and campus level are directly aligned to our 5 priorities in our strategic plan. This ensures that all campuses and the districts are headed in the same direction and working in alignment to achieve the targets set by the Board of Trustees. Next slide. So when we're talking about objectives, it is important for each campus to also develop their own strategies. So you'll see in the middle we have objectives. So my goal is to lose 15 pounds. My objective is to make sure that I diet or that I exercise. So our objectives, that's our anchor. That's what's in the middle. And then to the left and right, you see that the district and campuses have different strategies that they will use to ensure that we meet that goal. It's important for us to have district alignment, and it's also important for campuses to discuss what they're planning to do at their campus to improve instruction and student achievement. Next slide. So our district improvement plan and our campus improvement plan are living and breathing documents. That is so important. And so our goal is to continuously make improvements based on the students and the needs that we have at this time. And so we, just similar to the strategic planning process that the board went through recently, we will have ongoing monitoring and ongoing opportunities for feedback. So we'll have a stakeholder committee. So for our district improvement plan, that is our DEIC, that's our District Educational Improvement Committee, made up of teachers, community members, business members, and then parents. They will review and recommend based on our current needs and what's happening right now. We will bring it to the Board of Trustees for you to consider, refine, and then adopt if needed. And then our superintendent and senior leadership team will deploy, align, and make sure that we monitor the plans. So again, making sure that all of these documents are living and breathing documents. They are our framework and our roadmap for how we do things here in Duncanville. Next slide. Next slide. So in addition to the district improvement plan and the campus improvement plan, I'm going to introduce the targeted improvement plans to you tonight, but we will review those at next board meeting. So this year, for 2022-23, we have 4 schools that were identified as not rated schools. And what we will do is integrate their targeted improvement plans into their campus improvement plan. That's essential. We want to make sure that we are being intentional. We want to focus on quality and not quantity, but it's important for us to stay in compliance, and the campuses do submit and create the targeted improvement plan. The targeted improvement plans are created in alignment with what TEA calls their effective schools framework. The effective schools framework is what we refer to as an ESF, and it is aligned to 5 levers, and as you see on the slide, it's focused on the effective, well-supported teachers, high-quality curriculum, positive school culture, effective instruction, and then strong school leadership and planning. The effective schools framework is TEA's way of providing equity across the state of Texas, and we have principals and administrators who have been leading from that seat for many, many, many years, and then we have brand new principals coming in. What we do know is our students deserve the best at all times, so that effective schools framework is designed around research-based best strategies and practices, so principals are not having to come in and think from off their head, right? Oh, I think I should do this to improve instruction. Within the ESF, it tells us exactly what we should do for positive school culture, exactly what we should do for high-quality curriculum, and all the other levers that are listed. Not only does the ESF tell us what we should do, our 4 campuses that were listed also are partnering with Region 10, and so we have professional development that those principals and leadership teams attend. We also have a Region 10 district rep who meets with us, who's helped us outline our priorities for the year, who's helped us build our targeted improvement plans, and they provide coaching in any of these areas that the campuses identify as a need. Next slide. So when we look at the targeted improvement plans next week, all of our campuses have decided based on a self-assessment, so it's not just how they feel today. They had a self-assessment tool that we use to focus on 2 of the 3 areas you see listed above. So all 4 campuses will be focused either on Effective Schools Framework Lever 3, Mission, Vision, and Values, and a focus on safe learning environment with high expectations. After having students be away from school for a little bit of time, it's important for us to redefine what school looks like and focus in on a safe learning environment. ESF Lever 5.1, which is effective planning and instruction. Magic happens in the planning. High quality instruction starts with excellent planning. And then ESF Lever 5.3, which is data-driven instruction. So now we plan for the students in front of us. Now, what do we do once we realize our students may or may not be meeting the mark? Each campus was also able to develop strategies based around these levers, so similar to our district improvement plan, where we have the objective anchored in the middle, strategies on the outside. These are our anchors. So these ESF levers, all that those campuses are doing focuses on here, and they have strategies that branch out. Again, we will dig deeper next month into each four of those campuses' targeted improvement plans, but I wanted to introduce that process to you this month. Next slide. So the campus and district improvement plans will be reviewed quarterly. Again, as a board, when you develop the strategic plan for 5 years, we already identified the priorities or goals. So every campus improvement plan is aligned to those priorities, and our district improvement plan are also aligned to those priorities. So we've already, as a board and a district, decided what our focus would be for this year. We will update the plans quarterly to ensure ongoing progress is being made towards achievement of the board's strategic goals and then our objectives. Therefore, it is my recommendation of the administration that the board approve the district and campus improvement plan goals and objectives for the 2022-2023 school year. I know I shared a lot of information with you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Dr. Ivory?
Thank you so much. That was really informative. I have a couple of questions, and you can bring this back next month when you follow up with the presentation. I was just wondering if we've identified the similarities and the differences within the 4 campuses. If that's something you can bring back next month as well, but I'd be interested in that. I also want to know if attendance is a consistent area of growth with the students in those 4 schools, and about enrollment with those 4.
Yes.
And then for the mission and the effective planning, those things, when you come back next month, can you tell us how those things will be monitored? How will you monitor that?
Yes, I will.
Or measure it?
Yes, I will include all of those in the
Okay.
next month's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a comment, though.
Go right ahead.
I recognize with our teacher shortage and having some teachers that are not certified, and those things may make some of these things challenging, because we started last year with a more solid group. So I understand all that. So when you bring your presentation next month, I do understand that we are working with some challenges with our staff.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the district and campus improvement plans, goals, and objectives for the 22-23 school year?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries 7-0. Okay, we'll move on to 2022 Duncanville ISD Professional Development Plan. Dr. Jordan, you're still up.
Good evening again. Last month, I shared with you the 2022-2023 Professional Development Plan. In accordance with DMA Local, this is a new regulation that was provided to us. The board shall annually review the district's professional development clearinghouse that's published by the State Board for Educator Certification, SBAC, and annually approve the district's professional development plan, ensuring that we include those mandated trainings that are in the clearinghouse. So that's suicide prevention, strategies for establishing and maintaining positive relationships with students, including conflict resolution, bullying prevention, awareness for sexual abuse, sex trafficking, and then awareness and implementation of trauma-informed care. Those are the required trainings within our clearinghouse that we have to offer to our employees. In Duncanville ISD, all mandatory professional development outlined in the clearinghouse is embedded in our annual compliance training. So all district level compliance training is housed in Safe Schools, and that's an online software or online program that gives staff members access to those trainings plus additional ones that we include through high quality learning modules, and then we have a window for staff to complete those trainings. The window opens July 9th and it closes on September 30th. In addition to those required trainings, I also just provided you all a high-level overview of our professional development plan for the 22-23 school year.
Any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the 22-23 professional development plan, including the required professional development opportunities as outlined in the State Board of Education Certification Clearinghouse?
So moved.
Second?
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Now, we move on to the fun part. Connie?
All right. President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith, we are to the agenda item around naming of facilities, and I'd like to turn it back over to President McNeely.
It's a really great honor, and I want you to know that this was board-driven, that it's just something I'm really proud of, and Trustee Phillips wrote the request, and I'd like to get her to read it or say a few words about it. Okay.
Well, it is a true honor. Thank you, President McNeely, for the opportunity to read this and talk about our amazing superintendent. I'm just going to go ahead, and then I have a few words that I'm going to say afterward. It might repeat a little bit, but it's okay because it's about somebody that's so well-deserving. So, okay, so our Region 10 Superintendent of the Year, Dr. Mark Smith, is a true education professional committed to excellence. His passion for the success of every student in our district is commendable. Dr. Smith serves our students, district, and community with enthusiasm and integrity. In a few short years, Dr. Smith has implemented many programs that were critical to the success of our district. Under his leadership, we now have a district police department, a collegiate academy, full-day pre-K, superintendent scholars, choice programs, the Charles Acton Leadership Academy, a National Merit Scholarship semifinalist, and a teaching and learning center, just to name a few of his accomplishments. Dr. Smith has been all in for Duncanville ISD from day one and leads with an unstoppable excellence mindset. He is a true champion for education, and his leadership is exactly what Duncanville ISD needed. For these and many other reasons, we believe the Teaching and Learning Center should be named after the greatest to ever lead Duncanville ISD, Dr. Mark Smith.
Is it time to say something?
I just want to finish one thing here. Okay, so like I said, it might repeat a little bit, but it really is a true honor to serve alongside you, Dr. Smith. Thank you for your commitments to excellence, for the many programs you implemented, for leading with passion, integrity, and enthusiasm, and for taking our district to higher heights. Your all-in leadership benefits us all, our students and their families, and the staff, and our entire community. And for that, I want to thank you for being a true champion for Duncanville ISD.
Wow.
I would like to give each board member a few minutes to make comments. Trustee Colton, if you would, if you want to, you don't.
I just appreciate Dr. Smith and for what he has done for this community and for the students and also the staff, because we know that, you know, even if we are not economically have a lot of money, if you have a good education, you can make a good living and you can go on and, you know, go to college or get a trade or what you have done, what you have set in place makes it possible for students to be successful in this district. But not only that, I look at programs that you have implemented to help the teachers. You know, the various programs that we have to ensure that the teachers and the staff, you know, get the training that they need in order to be successful. And then, you know, looking at all the choice programs that you have brought, you know, you've elevated the district to a whole nother level, and it's much appreciated. We appreciate you, and we thank you, and you have the highest sense of integrity. You're the same, you know, and just striving just to help, you know, the district. So we appreciate you, and we think that, you know, it's a well-deserved honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As I recognize Dr. Ivory, I just want to give her credit for the picture idea. Lord knows I'm not creative enough to think of stuff like this, but I wanted you to know that this was her idea. Dr. Ivory? I can't take credit for everything.
This was a collaborative effort, and I'm really glad about that there was no dissent, unanimous agreement in honoring you the best way that we could. And I appreciate being able to serve on the board with the fellow board members, but also with you as our superintendent, because what you are about aligns with my purpose, and it helps so many, but mainly creating equity in education changes the trajectory of students' lives. And you keep that in mind. It's not just about today, it's not just about test scores, it's not just about things that can be seen, because the truth of the matter is most of the things that you do are really behind the scene. And so we didn't even list all of the things that, you know, people don't see or even hear about, the hard work, and you handle chaos well. And we appreciate the stability, but more than anything, you value people. Staff, students, parents, and this really is going to be the last thing, but as a leader, you're not just a leader, you're a leader of leaders. And coming to Duncanville, you have really been able to, or you seek to balance honoring the past and the history of Duncanville while pursuing a better future. And you do that without disrespecting the grit and the grind that the work that people have put in before you got here. And so you really work hard to keep that balance. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate that you're transparent with the board, and that you continuously show yourself as a student. You're still learning. And so for that, I am just really grateful, and seeing your name on something that we were able to create, and for the board members who helped this building come into existence, I want to recognize them right now too. But your name being on there is just a testament. Action speaks louder than words, and you honor the board often, and so we want you to know that we honor you back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Carla Fahey.
Lucky y'all, I've lost my voice. But Dr. Smith, you know how much I love you. And I have from the very get-go. I remember interviewing Dr. Smith, and he was just so nice. And he was just Mr. Everything, but I could not see him making those tough, like what I would call mean decisions, like when you have to let people go. But he does it. He does all that good. We learned that. You stay so focused, and your goals are there, but they grow. It's not like he might check one off, but he's already added 2 more to that goal. He's like, you're never going to be finished, and that's good because we need you to stay here and finish those, you see.
Yes.
Your integrity speaks for itself. You seem to be everywhere at all times. You make us a better board. Don't you think he makes us a better board? And getting to know you has been such an honor and privilege because I'm old. I've been on the board and served four superintendents, and my dear, you are the cream of the crop. And if there's a definition or a vision of a leader, it's right here. And I don't know what kind of grand picture we could paint on the Teaching and Learning Center that would honor you. We thought about a big old football statue or something, but we're just kidding about that. But that looks beautiful, and you so deserve it. You are very, very special. I don't think you know how special you are.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm done. You're welcome.
Dr. Smith, I first met you through Joe as he sat here in the seat, and as you mentioned before, and he would come home and he would say, wow, what a man we have hired for the district. He has the future of Duncanville set before us, and such a plan is coming. Be prepared, and watch this man evolve. And so what I'd like to say is that when you look at the definition pioneer, it says it's a foot soldier, detailed to make roads. And let me begin to tell you the roads that he has paved, new roads, re-engineering, being innovative, those roads these children, these students get to travel on. What an honor. I also would like to say that there is something to be said about a legend, and this is legacy. What you're doing is legacy for your children to see and for your family to understand and to know what you have done here in Duncanville is for the better of this community and the students that are all involved in this, and even for the leaders that you touch day in and day out. What an honor you have to see the operations of this school district function as they do. So we honor you tonight.
Thank you.
I work with a great board, and they have great words, and I'm not that great. But on behalf of alumni, they're coming back more and more to see what you're doing, to see what we're doing as a board and as an administrative team, to see what's happening in Duncanville. And it hadn't been happening in a very long time. But we're getting there, and we're doing better and better because of this band. So this is just a small way to recognize your accomplishments.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll recognize you in a minute. Just settle down. I've been part of Duncanville School District for like 44 years, either on the board or being able to be a coach and teacher for 31 years. And I think you've assembled the best staff we've ever had. We have the best staff. We have the best board that I've ever served on, and it's an honor to serve with these people. And that adds up for our kids to be the winner. And that's what the heck we're here for anyway. So 44 years, I've never, ever served with a superintendent as good as you. And that's all I got to say.
That is true.
And thank you. Thank you. Your turn.
Okay, thank you. Well, to say thank you and it's an honor really doesn't truly express how I feel. Those that know me I have a hard time talking about myself. and receiving any kind of accolades. And so, I just want to do good work, and I want to make those who trust me to do the good work proud. And so that's what I set out to do. I'm honored to work in Duncanville and serve in this community. And I'm truly blessed to work with a board such as yourself, who really encourage me and support me in doing the work. And so I want to thank you for thinking of me in this way. And I want to thank you for supporting me in all that you do on a daily basis to help me be who I am. I learned a long time ago, nobody accomplishes anything without the help and support of others. And so I know that I am only here because you all have allowed me to be here. And I don't take that for granted, and I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the staff, your support. You work really hard for me. I thank you all for being Duncanville all in and buying into the vision and what it is we have to do to make a difference for our district. And most of you don't know, I was raised by my grandparents. They're both deceased now. And so, anything that I've ever done that's good, I always count it to them. So I know that George and Avery Smith are just smiling down now, saying, man, what's wrong with those people? We and I used to run away from doing my homework sometimes, so I was a late bloomer. But I had people in my life like you that were my rock, that supported me, and that allowed me to see the possibilities and then gave me what I needed to go and make it happen. And that's what I want to do for anybody that I touch, whether it's the students, whether it's the other leaders, to see them go and become great leaders and contribute and see our students do. That's where I get my joy from. And so I'm thankful for this opportunity and want to continue to serve as long as you all will have me. So thank you.
I guess we better vote on this, huh? Do I have a motion to approve the naming of the Teaching and Learning Center as Dr. Mark Smith Teaching and Learning Center in honor of Dr. Mark Smith?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Motion passes. I have to give him a paintbrush and a ladder and let him go paint his name on the. Okay, move on to the information. Dr. Laska, you get to follow all this.
Well, as Dr. Laska as she comes up, this is the legislative season. We have several meetings coming up with Senator West and Representative Carl Sherman and Yvonne Davis, several others. And so as we are getting geared up for the legislative session, I wanted Dr. Laska to provide for you an overview of those high-level items that maybe you might want to consider as we adopt our legislative priorities for this year. And so obviously the goal is just to share this with you and then to get your feedback, and then whatever you want us to add in, we'll be certainly able to do that. We'll be making your legislative priorities available to all of our key legislators as we enter in this session. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Laska.
Thank you. Well, good evening, President McNeely, trustees, and Dr. Smith. First, I'd like to say congratulations, Dr. Smith, on that recognition, and thank you, Board, for recognizing such an exceptional leader. We left Dr. Smith, but I also know he's going to get back to work. So I'll move on. The legislative session that starts January 10th, we can go ahead and change the slide. Thank you. Is anticipated to have a strong focus on several educational issues. You as trustees have the right to propose opposition or advocacy for legislative measures, which is why it's important to exercise this right through legislative priorities. This will allow the district to equip legislators with the needs, views, and values of our district. We have drafted 8 categories of priorities and plan to communicate these priorities to our legislators as well as our stakeholders. Prior to and during the session, we will monitor any of the Education Committee meetings that target our priorities. We will track introduced legislation. Dr. Smith, of course, will engage with our senator and representatives and will testify if needed. We will also proactively plan for any bills that are enrolled for the governor's signature. Next slide. When drafting the legislative priorities, we did consider the priorities of educational advocacy groups, surrounding districts, and the board's previous legislative priorities. However, we primarily considered the impact current legislation has had on our district over the past 2 years and the impact of potential legislation. There are 20 priorities under the 8 categories. Under assessment and accountability, we continue to encourage our legislatures to reduce the number of high-stakes testing and planned, there we go, I lost my place, and plan to make sure that reduce high-stakes testing and align only to those that are required by ESSA. We also ask that they oppose the A through F accountability system, and with HB 4545 enacted in the 87th legislative session, we are encouraging a revision of this law to allow for more local flexibility. You will hear the phrase local flexibility as a theme throughout our priorities because districts like Duncanville have unique needs where flexibility allows us to adjust and adapt accordingly. One example of this is how we utilize the flexibility provided by districts of innovation. We are asking our legislatures to oppose any changes to this law. Recommended revisions come up each session, and our position is simply, it isn't broke, so let's not try to fix it. Of course, equity, diversity, and inclusion are integrated throughout our district vision, mission, and values. Therefore, we feel it's important to remind our legislatures to advocate for the elimination of any practice and system that perpetuates inequities and to increase the awareness, education, and equitable treatment of all students and staff. Moving on to state funding, this will likely be a hot topic this session as it is with most sessions. Therefore, the priorities address funding in several categories. However, specifically regarding state funding, we are encouraging advocacy in the funding of full-day pre-K programs and adequate, equitable, formula-based funding that takes into consideration, again, the unique needs of districts. We are also asking them to oppose any effort to reduce foundation school program funding, as well as opposing more unfunded mandates and any measure that further erodes the local control of school funding. With the unfortunate tragedies this year, school safety bills will of course be a high profile this session. So we felt it was important to draft a completely separate section for school safety funding, asking for an increase in the school safety allotment and to provide flexibility in these dollars. We also want them to oppose any bill that would limit our flexibility in this area. Students is the next category, and of course, they are the heart of our work. Therefore, we are asking our legislators to advocate for increased funding to address the diverse needs of our students and to assist in meeting the unfunded requirements of SB 179 for counseling and mental health services and programs. Although there have been some efforts to streamline state standards, there is still a long way to go. Therefore, we want them to oppose any measure that would take us backwards and increase standards or require additional instructional topics. We also want them to advocate for further streamlining of the standards. As has been discussed several times with the board, our district and many others are struggling with teacher shortages. And we need our legislatures more than ever to advocate for solutions that increase state recruitment and retention programs, funding for local efforts to recruit and retain teachers, funding for salary increases for all district employees, and increased flexibility in teacher certification requirements. And finally, last but not least, we have the category of vouchers and charters. Voucher bills are introduced, of course, every session. Therefore, we feel it's imperative to continue to encourage our legislatures to oppose any efforts to pull funding away from school districts through the adding of vouchers or tax credits and further expanding charter schools. We also want them to advocate for more transparency and accountability of charters to create equitability with ISDs. Of course, I know this is a lot on one page, but our hope is that this approach will make it easy for legislatures to carry this with them as a reminder of what is important to school districts and specifically to the community of Duncanville ISD. Next slide. Since this is our first reading, I will bring these back in November for a final look. However, I'm happy to accept any recommendations that you have and answer any questions at this time.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Dr. Alaska. Is there any communication? Nope. Anybody else have anything else to say? Okay, let's go home. We're adjourned.